Hello, Dirty Girls. I am so happy that you're joining me here and that you're taking advantage of the LOTUS Blueprint. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to give you some context around it and help you walk through it. So the LOTUS Blueprint was developed after 25 years in corporate America, 15 years in executive positions, navigating this glass obstacle course. And my goal is for you to use the blueprint to help accelerate your way through that obstacle course with less pain and less heartache than I went through. I want you to do it faster. I want you to do it better. And I want you to have the support of the Dirty Girls community as you go through this. Now, the number one complaint that I hear from the women that I work with, which is part of what instigated my desire to create the LOTUS Blueprint, is I feel stuck. Do you ever feel that way? I feel stuck. I feel trapped. I'm not moving as forward or as fast as forward as I want to in my career. I'm working really hard, but I don't seem to be getting the recognition. And this whole work-life balance thing is difficult. I get it. I get it because I was stuck as I was trying to navigate that glass obstacle course and figure out, how do I move ahead? How do I fulfill the goals and ambitions that I have without losing touch with my family, my friends, and even my self-care? So that's the genesis of the LOTUS Blueprint. And here's the thing that I learned about stuck that I think it's important for us to recognize as you go through this exercise. Stuck shows up in two places. The first level of stuck is the environment that we're in and the people that we're working with, as well as this second shift. So when we think about the people we're working with, for those of you who especially work in a male-dominated environment, and there are still industries out there that are very much male-dominated, you're also working with male leadership mindsets. And they may not be recognizing your style of leadership. They may not be hearing your voice. You may be frustrated by the fact that you feel like you're surrounded by a group of men who aren't hearing you, who aren't seeing what it is that you're bringing to the table. And that's not a criticism of the men or the women or you. This is a fact that we lead differently. We have different leadership styles, and this is something we need to think about. Now, related to that, the environment you're in, even if it is more gender balanced, may still be driven by a lot of male-dominated themes and a leadership style. Many of the HR departments that are out there still run performance reviews and that whole process based on male leadership skills. That's the measurement. So now we as women who are stepping up into our leadership roles are being judged against criteria that doesn't actually match the skill set that we bring to the table. So that's a challenge. And the third one I mentioned is this work-life balance. We have a second shift where we are taking care of our kids, we're taking care of our spouses, we're taking care of our family members, and oh, by the way, we're supposed to take care of ourselves. That doesn't go away. We can negotiate pieces of it, but we still certainly feel a responsibility towards managing our life and those responsibilities and managing our careers. And sometimes that tension and that stress gets so strong that we feel like we can't have it all. We're trying for the impossible. Well, the other aspect of being stuck is actually the good news, because this is the piece that is in our control. There are elements of our feeling stuck that are actually about old patterns that we've developed, old work habits that we have, work habits that are tricky because they used to work for us. Patterns and habits that have gotten us where we are today in our career may not be working to get us to that next level. Whether that next level is you're aiming for a promotion, for a raise, you're climbing the corporate ladder, whether that next level is you're switching industries or switching careers altogether and doing something new, whether it is your first time in a leadership position, or whether you've decided to step out and launch your own business, there is a next step you are trying to get to. And some of these old behavior patterns that we've developed when we were younger in our careers that helped get us here today are not getting us further. So it's to our benefit to take a close look at what are the behavior patterns we have that are no longer serving us. The LOTUS Blueprint is designed to help you navigate some of that. The other element to look at is, how do we lead? Like I said, we as women tend to lead differently than men. When you look at study after study about gender differences in leadership, there is one key thing that stands out. For both sexes, men and women, money and title, they're important. There's no denying they're important. This is how we recognize our achievements. This is how we feel rewarded for the work that we're doing, right? It's in the title and it's in the salary and in the bonuses and whatever that structure is. And that's great. But one significant difference is that more women will leave a great title and a great salary if the work environment and the work that is being produced and recognized isn't fulfilling. And when they interview women leaders about what's fulfilling, what they're looking for, what we're all looking for is, I want to collaborate with a team and have a broader impact. I want to know that the work I'm doing is making a difference for my team, for my company, for the community, for the world. We want to have an impact. That is a key part of feminine ambition. It's not just the title and it's not just the salary proving that we can climb the ladder. It's knowing that what we're doing actually makes a difference. So I created the LOTUS Blueprint as a way for us to start wrapping our heads around, how do we want to lead? How do we want to show up as we're climbing through our work structure, whether again, it's a corporate ladder or you're launching your own business? We need to give serious thought to, what are the behavior patterns that are holding us back that we need to start really thinking about and shifting in order to behave differently? And how can we recognize the leadership skills that we already have and put them out there so that the rest of the world recognizes it too? So as you dive into the LOTUS Blueprint, consider the 5 power moves that I'm giving you here. Lead, own, trust, understand, and shift. And as you walk through these, you will see lead is about owning your role, taking leadership, right? What are you worth? How many hours are you working that you're not actually getting paid for? Know your self-worth and lead with that, because here's the thing, you know more than you think. Your whole experience that's behind you has gotten you to this point. And with just a few shifts in how we're looking at our behavior, how we're looking at the career path that we're chasing, and how we're communicating, you can leapfrog to that next level, no problem. Lead, own. Own means own your work. Own what you've done, promote it, share it. Just because the team around you, the men around you, the executives around you aren't recognizing your great work doesn't mean they don't think you're valuable. It means they don't know. It means we're not communicating as clearly as we could the actual benefits that we're bringing to the table. Own that. Own your experience. Own the work that you do. Make sure everyone else recognizes that too. And then there's trust. Trust your voice. When we don't feel heard, it's often because we're not actually speaking up as much as we think we are. We're thinking in here, we're not always speaking and communicating out here. Trust what you bring to the table. Trust that being wrong or not knowing is not a negative at all. In fact, this trust that you're going to bring to your role now as you start moving forward in your career is actually going to develop stronger connections for you and stronger networking for you. But you have to trust. Understand what having it all means to you, because it's different for every one of us. But having it all means being very clear on the boundaries you're going to set between that work-life balance, understanding what your values are, what your non-negotiables are, and what it is you are willing to compromise. Get really clear and understand what is this life I'm trying to create, and therefore, what are the guardrails I need to have in place to ensure that this is what I'm building. And finally, shift. Nothing happens. Nothing happens without shift. It is a critical component to the LOTUS Blueprint because shift is where we take action. If we do not take action on how we lead, if we do not take action on owning our work, if we do not take action on trusting where we are in our journey, if we do not take action on our understanding of our values and our boundaries, then nothing changes. Shifting is where we get dirty in the dirty girls world. We get dirty with, I have to change some behaviors. I have to shift some habits that aren't working for me. This is probably the hardest part because shifting habits is uncomfortable. It feels wrong. It feels unnatural. And it stirs up all the gremlin voices in our head that tell us, oh, don't do that. That's risky. That's scary. People aren't going to like that. But shift is kind of where the magic happens, because until we put all this other work into practice, we've changed nothing. We've done a lot of navel gazing in our head, but we have changed nothing. So we have to shift. We have to take everything we've learned in this process of lead, own, trust, and understand, and we have to put it into action with shift. So as I said, I am very excited that you are now taking part of the LOTUS Blueprint. Take a look at it, work through it, think about it, and then make your action plan. Make your action plan to move yourself a little closer to the goal that you're going for. Because remember, ambition is not a dirty word. Your goals, they are achievable. Work-life balance can be done, and you can have it all. You just have to know what that means to you. What does having it all mean to you? So, I am Natalie Hahn. I'm the CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting, and I'm very happy to share this training with you. And I hope to hear from you after you've gone through the LOTUS Blueprint, how this has worked for you. What's this stirred up in terms of your thoughts and ideas? Where are you ready to take the next step? What action are you taking next? So please share that with me. Come to the Dirty Girls page, come to our private Facebook group, and join us. Share in the conversation. Let's share in the growth. The whole point of the Dirty Girls community is to support each other, to share ideas, and to help every woman make the most of the next steps that she's taking in her career and in her life. We want every woman to build a life she loves. So let's get to it, Dirty Girls.